Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashotara Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudev ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashotara Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashotara Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashotara Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashotara Shishimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada ki jai. Nityal Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityal Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupa Nu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dashraghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai. Shri Amuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Ram Navami Titi ki jai. Titi Palankari Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Ram Lakshman Bharat Shatrughna ki jai. Shri Lord Rāmacandra ki jai. Shri Kaushalya Mata ki jai. Shri Sumitra Mata ki jai. Shri Kaikai Mata ki jai. Shri Dasharath Maharaj ki jai. Shri Hanuman ki jai. Shri Ayodhya Dham ki jai. Shri Sita Devi ki jai. Janak Maharaj ki jai. Shri Ramayan ki jai. Shri Valmiki Rishi ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki. Shri Ramcharit Manas ki jai. Shri Tulsidas ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashotara Shishimar Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Did I say Jai Hanuman? Jai Hanuman ki jai. Shri Rāmacandra-avatāra Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Okay. Hari Bol, everybody. Dandavat pranams. Rajumna Prabhu, Mantra Murti Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, Kishore Prabhu, Gargaraj ji, Dandavat pranam, Jai Shri Ram, Madhavi Didi. Hari Krishna, everybody. Dandavat pranams to all of you. So, today I'm going to be reading Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. He wrote a book about the Dasavatars, and since today is his appearance day, I thought it would be nice to read his glorification of Rāmacandra from that book, Dasavatara. So let me share my screen, and then hopefully, today's going to be a busy day because after I finish this class, this reading, then I'm gonna have to go to start kirtan for Padmanabha Maharaj's class, and then I want to do kirtan and Guru Samadhi in the evening time. But hopefully after all the arati is over, then I would like to read from this book, Sweet, Sweeter, Sweetest, by his name before was Prahlad Prabhu, but he recently took sannyas, and now his name is. So I want to read this book of his memories with Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So maybe I'll do that at like 7:30 p.m. or something, but I don't know exactly. I think so. Yeah, but that makes it easy. So we start 7:30 a.m. and I'll read again at 7:30 p.m. So in 12 hours from now. Hari Bol Sudevi Didi Dandavat Pranams. Okay, so this chapter is a bit long. It's 7,000 words, so I'll read maybe a little bit over an hour today. Okay, let's start. So, Sri Rāmacandra-avatāra from the book Dasavatara by Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Lord Rāmacandra is the seventh avatar of the Dasavatara. Among the 25 Leela avatars, Lord Rāmacandra is the 20th avatar. This has been mentioned in the description of Matsya avatar. The second Purush avatar, Shri Garbhodakshai Vishnu in the form of Pradyumna, is the original source of Matsya, Kurma, Rama, Nrsimha, and other Leela avatars. Śrīla Rupa Goswami, in his book Laghu Bhagavatamrita, defines Lord Ramacandra as the Paravasta, the perfect form. Nrsimha Ramakrishneshu Sargunyam Paripuritam Paravastas Tute Tasya Dipad Utpana Dipavat. That's from the Padma Puran. It says, Lords Nrsimha, Ramacandra, and Krishna possess 60 transcendental opulences in full. When lighting many lamps from one original lamp, all the lamps possess the same nature. And similarly, although Rama and Nrsimha are expansions of Swayam Bhagavan Shri Krishna, all three of them possess 60 qualities in full. In the pastimes of Lord Ramacandra, the dignity of moral codes is established. Therefore, Shri Ramacandra... Okay, that was the translation to this verse. Okay, so in the pastimes of Lord Ramacandra, the dignity of moral codes is established. Therefore, Shri Ramacandra is known as Maryada Purushottama, the best form of the Supreme Lord in following codes of... Shri Rama's pastimes exhibit all rasas up to Vatsalya Ras, parental affection. However, due to moral codes having the highest priority in these pastimes, the mood of parental affection has a restricted nature. Maharaj Dasharatha established these codes, so he was unable to prevent Sri Rama going to the forest. To exemplify these codes, Sri Ramacandra accepted exile in the forest to uphold a promise that his father had made. Dasharatha Maharaj passed away because he was unable of separation from his son, Ramacandra. Sri Ramacandra vowed to accept only one wife, Ekapatni Vratadhara. Therefore, no one else can worship him as a husband. Kantaras, conjugal mood, is not exhibited in these pastimes. When the sages of Dandakaranya desired to have Sri Ramacandra as their husband, he told them to achieve conjugal bliss by paying allegiance to the gopis in his pastimes as Krishna. Shri Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, the prime supreme personality of Godhead, whereas Ram, Singha, and others are his partial manifestations. His Anksha are the parts of the partial manifestations, Kala. Now this verse from Brahma Samhita. Ramadi murtishu kala niyamena tishtan nanavataram akaror bhuvaneshu kintu Krishna swayam samabhavat paramapumanyo govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. That's from Brahma Samhita 539. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, Krishna, who manifested himself in different forms, such as Ram and others, as his partial manifestations, or parts of his partial manifestations. Ete chanksa kala pungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge at Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28. Previously, in every epoch, whatever Avatars are narrated as partial manifestations or parts of partial manifestations, appear to protect the world from oppression of demons. But Sri Krishna, Rajendra Nandan, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is the original Bhagavan. He is original Bhagavan, Prime Purush, and is even prior to Adi Purush Avatar Mahavishnu. In Sri Vishnu Dharmottara, Rama, Lakshman, and Shatrughna are mentioned as being avatars of Vasudeva, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha respectively. In the Padma Purana, Sri Rāmacandra is identified as Narayan, Sri Lakshman as Shesh, Sri Bharata as Lord Narayan's disc, chakra, and Sri Shatrughna as his conchal, as his shankha. Nikshatriyam akrita gam chatri sapto kritvora. Nikshatriyam akrita gam chatri sapta kritvo Ramastu hayakulapyaya bhargavagni Sobdhim babanda Dasavatara maham salankam Sita patir jayati lokamalagna kirti. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 11.4.21. So we read this recently. In the form of Bhargava, Parshuram, fiery destroyer of the high dynasty, rid the earth of the Kshatriya class 21 times. That same Lord appeared in the form of Ram, the husband of Sita, who is renowned as the purifier of the world and rescuer of the people of the world. He built a bridge across the ocean and destroyed the 10-headed Ravana, along with his kingdom of Lanka. One can see the significant influence of the holy character of Lord Ramachandra's pastimes in the life of the Hindu society of India. In the original Valmiki Ramayana, it is written as follows. The sage Valmiki appeared as the 10th son in the lineage of Pracheta Rishi. One day, while living with his disciple Bharadwaj Muni, he went to bathe by the bank of the river Tamasa, which was near the Ganga, near the Ganges. So Valmiki, it's talking about Valmiki, right? Yeah. So, or is it talking about Pracheta Rishi? That I'm not so clear about. Anyways, I think it's talking about Valmiki. At that place, upon witnessing the killing of a male Kroncha, or curlew bird, by a Vyadha, a killer of birds, and the grief of the female Kroncha, the sage became sad of heart and spoke the following poetic verse to the Vyadha, to the hunter. I think this is Valmiki. Mahishada pratishtam tvam aghama shashvati sama yat kroncha mitunat ekam avadhi kama mohitam. That's from the Valmiki Ramayana, Balakanda 2.15. O Vyadha, you will never be able to achieve success and stability throughout your life, since you have killed one of a pair of Kroncha birds while it was totally absorbed in lustful affairs. Thereafter, the great sage bathed in the holy place and returns to his ashram. Being stricken with grief, he was still thinking about what was uttered after spontaneously composing it. Just then, the four-headed Lord Brahma himself appeared before him and spoke the following words to console the perturbed Valmiki. O great sage, it was I who caused you to compose such a verse. Fret no longer over this matter. Instead, you should describe the holy transcendental biography of Sri Ramachandra, which was spoken by Devarshi Narad. Valmiki composed the Ramayana only because of this order of Brahma. Hare Krishna Shasharma ji and Rohit Radha Krishnan ji. In a Bengali encyclopedia, a particular incident has been described as traditional hearsay. The story in brief is as follows. He was born from a Valmika, an anthill, so his name became Valmiki. When Lord Sri Ramacandra visited Valmiki's ashram near Chitrakoot, Valmiki glorified the name of Ram in his birth pastimes before the Lord. Although Valmiki was born in the house of a Brahmana, he acquired an abominable violent nature due to association of a Vyadha, of a hunter. He fathered many children from the womb of a Shudra, of a low-class woman, of a Shudra woman. He practiced robbery as a means of maintaining them. One day, when he attacked some sages, they asked him to give up the practice of robbery. They said that he would have to suffer the consequences of whatever sins he was committing by robbing people. Upon returning home and asking his father, mother, wife, and other family members, he found out that they would not share the fruits of his sins. He then asked the sages for a remedy. The sages first advised him to chant the name of Rama. However, upon not being able to utter the name of Ram from his mouth, because he was so sinful, he was instructed to chant Mara, death, instead. So he was so sinful he couldn't say Ram, but he could say Mara, death, 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 death. Following their instructions, he chanted Mara, 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 Mara for thousands of yugas, eons. By chanting Mara, Mara, the reversal of Rama, Rama, the name of Ram was eventually pronounced from his mouth, and he achieved perfection in chanting the name of Lord Ram. See, look, I'm going to just add a space, delete the hyphen, and you get Rama. Rama, 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 Rama. Okay. Because he was sitting in one place while chanting for such a long time, his body had become the home of Valmikas, ants or termites. Therefore, people gave him the name Valmiki. In the Bengali Ramayana, written by Krittivasa Upadhyaya, some differences from the above description can be seen. Sri Chyavan Muni was Valmiki's father. In his youth, Valmiki's name was Ratnakar, and he maintained his family by robbery. One day, he attacked Brahma and Narad, who then asked Ratnakar who he thought would share in his sins. Ratnakar then returned home and asked his parents and wife if they would share the repercussions of his sinful activities. After asking everyone, he came to know that no one would share his sins. He became repentant, and when he inquired as to a remedy for these sins, Brahma advised him to chant the name of Rama. Due to excessive sins, his mouth was unable to pronounce the word Ram. Acting on Brahma's instructions, he chanted the reverse name of Mara Mara. By chanting Mara Mara, he was eventually able to chant the holy name Ram. Due to performing austerities for a long time, his body became covered with the homes of Valmikas, which was then cleansed with rain by Indra. As the Valmikas had covered him, his name became Valmiki. He wrote the Ramayana on the instruction of Narada. The Ramayana is famous as the original epic of India. During the time of the Ramayana, Sanskrit was prevalent as the spoken language in Aryan society. The word Arya, honor spiritually cultured, has been used quite often in the Ramayana. Special respect for the Ramayana has been observed in places as far away as Javadweep, that's Java, Indonesia. Although a large book, the Ramayana of Javadweep has no section divisions, but does have chapter divisions. The Valmiki Ramayana is of three kinds: Udicha, Dakshinatya, and Gaudiya. The Udicha indicates the northwestern Ramayana, and the Dakshinatya indicates the southern Ramayana. There's no significant difference between the text and the subject of the Udicha and Dakshinatya Ramayans. However, differences can be seen in the Gaudiya Ramayana. There are 28 commentaries on the Ramayana. The Ramayana has been written in all the languages of India. Among the Ramayans written in Indian languages, the Tamil Ramayana of Kumbhala, composed in the 9th century of the Christian era, the Bengali Ramayana of the Krittivas, composed in the 15th century, and the Hindi Ramayana of Tulsidas, composed in the 17th century, are the most famous. In the Western countries, the Ramayana was apparently first translated into the Italian language. Interesting. The Valmiki Ramayana has been written in 7 khandas, 7 sections, namely Adi Khanda, Ayodhya Khanda, Aranya Khanda, Kishkinda Khanda, Sundara Khanda, Lanka Khanda, and Uttara Khanda. The Ramayana is a voluminous scripture. From the description of Ramacandra's lineage in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is understood that Ramacandra appears in the solar dynasty, the Surya Vangsha. Ikshvaku, the son of Vaivasvata Manu, is the origin of the solar dynasty, and his descendants proceed in the following order. Mandhata from Ikshvaku, Trishanku's son Harishchandra, Harishchandra's son Rohit, and after that, Maharaj Sagar, Asamanjasa, Anshuman, Dilipa, and Bhagirata. In this lineage came Ashmaka, King Balika, and other kings. When Parshuram was killing the Kshatriyas, King Balika from his wrath due to being surrounded by women. Hence, one of his names became Nari Kavacha, shielded by women. Being the root of the Kshatriya lineage, he became famous by the name of Mulaka. In the lineage, the great emperor King Katvanga took birth. From Katvanga, Dirgabahu, Raghu, Prithushrava, Aja, and finally Aja's son Maharaj Dasharat was born. Katvangad Dirgabahuscha Raghus Tasmat Prithushrava, Ajas Tato Maharajas Tasmar Dasharato Bhavat. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 9.10.1. Due to the prayers of the demigods, the Supreme Lord, Sri Hari, agreed to become the son of King Dasharat along with his expansions as Ram, Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna. According to the description of Valmiki Ramayana, Dasharat, acting upon the advice of Sumantra, arranged for a Putreshti Yagya to be conducted by the powerful sage Rishyashringa to obtain a son. Subsequently, he begot the Supreme Lord and his expansions as his sons in the previously mentioned 4 forms. His principal queen, Kaushalya, became pregnant after eating charu, an oblation of rice, milk, and sugar boiled together. Charu is an oblation of rice, milk, and sugar boiled together, which remains after the yajna. At the auspicious time of Punarvasu Nakshatriya and the 4th zodiacal sign of Cancer, in the month of Chaitra, on the 9th day of the waxing moon, Lord Sri Ramacandra appeared. Jai Sri Ramacandra ki Jai! Bharat appeared from the womb of Kaikeyi during the Pushya Nakshatra Meena Lagna, and Lakshmana and Shatrughna appeared from the womb of Sumitra during the Ashlesha Nakshatra Karkata Lagna. Oh, you wanna come in? Okay. Ahalya was freed of the curse of becoming a stone by dint of her encounter with Sri Ramacandra. The great sage Gautama was the husband of Ahalya. Devaraj Indra deceived Ahalya by assuming the form of Gautama and corrupting her chastity. Displeased with this, Gautama cursed Ahalya and Indra. Turned to stone by the curse of Gautama, Ahalya remained without food for many years, surviving only on air. Ahalya was finally freed from this curse by the touch of the lotus feet of Sri Ramacandra, and was then united with her husband, Gautama. In the pastimes of Sri Rama, the following of ethical codes is of primary importance. That's why he's called Maryada Purushottama. His pastimes strongly evoke the sentiment of compassion. By the mercy of Sri Ramacandra, we can be saved from the immorality and adharma, unrighteousness. This is by Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. The Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself prayed to Ramacandra in the following way to teach us. Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshamam. Rakshamam means rescue me. So from the pastimes of Ramacandra, we learn about the necessity of accepting and serving a spiritual master, devotion to one's parents, and the duties of a wife. The Supreme Lord Sri Ramacandra has exhibited the pastime of abandoning the opulence of royal life, which is very difficult to give up, and of abandoning a perfect wife for keeping dharma and ethics intact. He accepted suffering, accepted exile in the forest, and went without food and sleep. He walked with his soft lotus feet on the forest paths, which were full of thorns. Out of love for his devotees, the Lord bestowed his mercy on the Chandala Guhaka. As the protector of one who surrenders to him, the Lord sheltered the Vibhishan. Sri Rama's pastimes demonstrate how a henpecked person becomes miserable, and how those who consider someone merely dressed as a sadhu, lacking genuine qualification, to be a real sadhu, become cheated and end up miserable. By annihilating demons such as Ravana and Kumbhakarna, he destroys the living being's inner demoniac tendencies. To instruct his subjects and for their pleasure, he underwent suffering by asking for Sita's trial by fire and her banishment to the forest. Austerities are prohibited for evil motives, who are in a mode of dark ignorance, because those austerities only create havoc in the world. To teach this, he killed the Shudra Shampuka while the latter was engaged in performing austerities. All these lessons by setting the example himself. In the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami covers the main topics by describing the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Lord Sri Ramacandra in brief. These topics are described in Srimad Bhagavatam as follows. The pastimes of Lord Sri Ramacandra are wonderful, like those of a playful baby elephant. Wonderful like a playful baby elephant. At Sita's Swayamvar, the assembly where Mother Sita was to choose her husband, in the midst of all the heroes, he playfully lifted the immensely heavy bow of Lord Shiva, the Haradhanu, which was brought in 300 men. He then bent and strung it and broke it in everyone's presence. After breaking the Haradhanu at the Swayamvar, the Lord gained King Janak's daughter Sita, who had not been born from the womb, and who was equally as endowed as the Lord with transcendental qualities of form, beauty, age, behavior, and nature, just like Lakshmi. While returning, he crushed the pride of Parashuram, who had rid the earth of Kshatriyas 21 times. As described in the Ramayana, so I think that was all from Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, as described in the Ramayana, at the time of Rama's marriage to Sita and Mithila, King Dasharatha came with his other sons, ministers, and sages. There, Lakshman married Urmila, the daughter of Shishadvaja, Janak. So Lakshmana married Urmila, the daughter of Janak, the king of Mithila, and Bharata and Shatrughna married the two daughters of Kushadvaj, Mandavi and Shrutakirti. To reveal the condition of persons who are attached to women, Lord Sri Ramacandra, in order to fulfill the desire of his wife, after a golden deer. This deer was in fact Maricha, who had assumed this form according to the instructions of Ravan. Taking advantage of the golden opportunity of Ramachandra's absence, Ravan kidnapped Sita. To exhibit the sorrowful condition of a person who is attached to women, Sri Ramachandra wandered in the forest in a pitiable state with his brother Lakshmana, displaying distress due to separation from his beloved. In this context, as written in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the example of a devotee of Ram in South India is to be considered. How was it that Ravan, who is overcast with gloom and arrogance, could kidnap... How was it that Ravan, who was overcast with gloom and arrogance, could kidnap Sita Devi, the absolute counterpart, transcendental spiritual energy of the absolute transcendental Supreme Lord Sri Ramacandra? Upon seeing this description in the Ramayana, the devotee of Ram became filled with grief and gave up eating. Sriman Mahaprabhu put this question to him. Considering that the ignorant Ravan had not even seen the absolute transcendental spiritual entity Sita Devi, how could he have kidnapped her? Explaining, Sriman Mahaprabhu said that Ravan had only kidnapped the Maya Sita, or the illusory material form of Sita, and that the real Sita had disappeared. The story of the kidnapping of Maya Sita is described in the Kurma Puran of Vedavyas Muni. In the pastimes of Ram, a wonderful quality can be seen in the character of Bharata. When obstructed in the service of the Supreme Lord Sri Rāmacandra, he even rejected his own mother. Gurur nasasyat swajano nasasyat, pita nasasyat janani nasasyat, daivam natatsyan napatishtasasyan, namo chayerya samupeta mrityum. That's from Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.18. He who cannot rescue a conditioned soul from the worldly bondage of proximate death by advising the path of devotion to God is not entitled to be accepted as a real guru, a real kinsman, a real father. Like such a man should not endeavor to beget a child. A real mother, such a woman should not endeavor to conceive. A real demigod, such a demigod should not be eligible for worship. Or a real husband, such a man should not marry. Wow, so the qualification to become a father, a mother, or a demigod, or a husband has to be that you can you can rescue a conditioned soul from worldly bondage by advising them on the path of pure devotion. That's the qualification. Okay, the Supreme Lord creates all beings, but is satisfied only after creating man. Man has the ability to discriminate between good and bad, eternal and non-eternal, and can worship the Supreme Lord. The human birth is not meant only for eating, sleeping, defending, and mating like the beasts, birds, aquatics, and other animals. Still, we generally find that most people have little or no inclination to worship God. Evidently, we cannot have quality and quantity at the same time. If we wish to increase quantity, we must sacrifice quality, and vice versa. One second, just checking in the comments. Oh, I'll let her know you said that. Okay. After killing Ravan and upon finishing the period of his forced exile, Sri Rāmacandra returned to Ayodhya on the Pushpaka, on the flower airplane, with Sita Devi, Hanuman, Sugriva, and Lakshman. The citizens, Brahma, and the other demigods were in a state of jubilation. However, Sri Rāmacandra lamented upon hearing that his brother Bharata was eating barley cooked in the urine of a cow, was covering his body with the bark of trees, was wearing matted locks of hair, and lying down on kusha grass. When Lord Ramachandra returns to Ayodhya, Bharat took Lord Ramachandra's wooden shoes upon his head and came out of Nandigram, accompanied by ministers, priests, and citizens, singing and playing music. He fell at the lotus feet of Sri Ramachandra with his eyes full of tears of love. Bharat exhibited such a wonderful character. It is for modern men to even contemplate such an ideal. In the present-day situation, the administrative class will not hesitate to perform any heinous work to protect their position. Where there is great attachment to position, there cannot be good administration. We can learn from the ideal examples of character. We can learn from the ideal examples of character of Sri Ramachandra and Bharata, with the proper character for administrators. We can learn what the proper character for administrators should be. So when there's great attachment to position, there cannot be good administration. We learn that from Ramachandra and Bharata. Upon seeing their beloved King Sri Ramachandra after a long period of separation, his subjects showered him with flower garlands and danced in great ecstasy. At that time, Bharat carried Ramachandra's wooden shoes. Sugriva and Vibhishan carried a chamar, and an excellent, they carried a chamar and an excellent fan. Hanuman carried a white umbrella. Shatrughna carried a bow and quiver. Sita Devi carried a water pot filled with water from holy places. Angada carried a sword, and Jambavan carried a golden amulet. While wandering in Ayodhya in disguise, Sri Ramacandra heard one of his subjects casting aspersions upon the character of Sita Devi. Upon hearing this, the Lord banished Sita Devi even though she was pregnant. What a wonderful idea and spirit of sacrifice this was to teach his subjects. Ikir bahu mukhar duraradhyad asamvida patya bhitena satyakta prapta prachetasa shramam. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 9:11-10. Men with a poor fund of knowledge and heinous character speak nonsensically. Fearing such rascals, Lord Ramacandra abandoned his pregnant wife Sita Devi. Thus, after being banished by Ram, Sita Devi went to Valmiki Muni's ashram. Sri Ramacandra even abandoned his brother Lakshmana, who was dearer to him than his own life, in order to maintain the codes of Dharma. The gist of this incident is as follows. Once, Lord Brahma sent Kala in the form of tapas as a messenger to Sri Ramacandra. Before conveying Brahma's message, the messenger placed the condition before Sri Ramacandra that he tell him the message if Sri Ram promised him that no one would be able to hear his words. If anyone heard or saw their secret conversation, he would be fit to be killed by Sri Ram. Sri Ramacandra accepted this condition. However, while the secret conversation between the messenger and Sri Ramacandra was taking place, Durvasa Rishi came to see Sri Ramacandra. Lakshman, who was appointed as the gatekeeper during the secret conversation, became afraid upon seeing the angry form of Durvasa Rishi and went to Sri Ramacandra to ask his permission to allow him inside. To keep his promise, on the instructions of Vasishta, Sri Ramacandra banished his brother Lakshman, who was dearer to him than his own life. And do you remember what the reason was why Durvasa wanted to see Ramacandra? It was something very meager, like I'm hungry or something like that. I can't remember.
It's always like that. You wanted to see him, and what happened?
Well, no, he had to banish Lakshman because
Durvasa.
No, Ramacandra had to banish Lakshman because Kal came to talk to Ramacandra. What we just read.
Oh, I was spacing out.
Okay. Lakshman's demonstration that the elder brother is as respectable as the father, his abandonment of all material comforts for the service of his object of worship, Sri Ramacandra, and his service to him for 14 years while being in the forest with him, are all ideal examples. Lakshman had not been ordered to go to the forest in exile, yet he went after his elder brother to serve him. Lakshman, with his transcendental powers and the help of Vibhishan, was able to obstruct the Nimbhyagya of Ravan's son, Meghanad, who had conquered Indra. Lakshman then killed Meghanad. Indrajit, Meghanad, that's another name for Meghanad, obtains the boon that only one who is able to remain without food for 14 years and who also has full control over the senses would be able to kill him. Lakshman did not take food while living in the forest for 14 years and performs the pastime of conquering all his senses. While remaining all the time with Sri Ramacandra and Sita Devi and serving them, he never saw beyond the lotus feet of Sita Devi. One second, I forgot to check if my microphone is plugged in. I mean, if it's connected. Oh man, sorry.
You're not even.
No, I was recording it, but I wasn't using the microphone. I was using my computer microphone by accident. Okay, now the sound will be better. Even Sri Ram's internal potency Sita Devi, although instructed repeatedly by Sri Ramacandra not to go with him to the forest, as this punishment was meant for him and not for her or anyone else, left behind all comforts for the service of her husband. So even though Ramacandra repeatedly instructed her, she didn't follow his instructions and she went with him to the forest. By this action, she defines the duty of a chaste wife and exhibited the ideal of following the husband. The Supreme Lord Sri Ramacandra was completely fascinated by the pure love of Sita Devi, which surpassed all his expectations. But in order to teach the dharma of a king who is engaged in the welfare of the citizens to himself, he asked for the ordeal by fire, the Agni Pariksha, and declared the injunction of the banishment of Sita Devi, who is non-different from his own self. Once, arrangements were being made for an Ashvamedha yajna under the priesthood of Vasishtha and other sages. The wife of the person to perform the Ashvamedha yajna has to be initiated in the yajna before the husband. Because of this rule, it was that Sri Ramacandra get married again. But Sri Ramacandra rejected the proposal and arranged to have a golden deity of Sita instead. He was given yajna initiation along with the golden deity of Sita as his wife. What can be a better example of Sita Devi's most excellent chastity and love than this? Yet, to remove the doubts of the citizens in the Naimisha area on the banks of the Gomati, he invited sages, all the kings, and even Sugriva along with the Vanaras, the monkeys, and Vibhishan along with the Rakshasas, the demons. Maharshi Valmiki was also present in the sacrificial arena with Lava and Kush. Upon hearing the Ramayana from Lava and Kush, which had been composed by Valmiki, Sri Ramacandra understood that they were his sons. Acting on the order of Valmiki Muni, Sri Ramacandra sent messengers to invite Sita Devi to prove her chastity before everyone at the sacrificial arena. Sita Devi saw that even after she had been tested 2 times, everyone's doubt had not been removed. Therefore, she came with the determination that this time she would enter into Rasatal, the lowest of the 7 underworlds. So addressing the earth goddess, she said, "O Devi, if I do not think of anyone other than Raghava in my mind, then divide into 2 parts and give me shelter. If this is true, I worship Ram with all my senses and do not know anyone other than Ram. O Devi, divide into 2 parts and let me enter." Everyone was astonished to see a miraculous divine throne come up from the middle of the earth, and as Sita Devi sat on it, it entered into Rasatal. Upon Sita Devi's entering into Rasatal, everyone glorified her with loud applause. Sri Ramacandra, taking support of the Yajna Danda, lowered his face and cried for a long time in the grief of separation from Sita. In the Ramayana, Hanuman's dedication to his object of worship is displayed to the utmost, and his devoutness has an ideal place among the servants of Ram. For the nourishment of Sriman Mahaprabhu's pastimes, Hanuman appeared as Murari Gupta. Sriman Mahaprabhu taught the glories and importance of dedication to one's object of worship through Murari Gupta. Sriman Mahaprabhu explained to Murari Gupta that worship of Sri Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is best. Upon hearing this subject from Mahaprabhu, Murari Gupta promised him that from now on he would worship Sri Krishna. But even after giving his word to Mahaprabhu, he was not able to keep his promise to the very end. Murari Gupta then fell at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu and spoke the following words while crying. Raghunath payamui bechi achon mata kadite na pari mata mane pai vyata Shri Raghunath charana na jai tava agya boy কি করো উপায় তাতে মোরে কৃপা করো দয়াময় তোমার আগে মৃত্যু হোক যোগ সংসার That's Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 15, verses 149 to 151. So it said, I have sold my head unto the lotus feet of Raghunath. I cannot withdraw my head, for that would give me too much pain. It is not possible for me to give up the service of Raghunath's 2 lotus feet. At the same time, if I do not do so, I shall break your order. What can I do? You are all merciful, so kindly grant me the mercy that I may die before you, so that all my doubts will be finished. While assuring Murarigupta, Mahaprabhu praised him, saying, "E mata tomar nishta jani baratare, tomare agraha ami koilu bare bare, shakshat Hanuman tumi Shri Rama Kinkar, tumi kene chadibe tar charana kamal." That's Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 155 to 156. Just to test your firm faith in your Lord, I requested you again and again to change your worship from Lord Ramacandra to Lord Krishna. Indeed, you are the incarnation of Hanuman. Consequently, you are an eternal servant of Lord Ramacandra. Why should you give up the worship of Lord Ramacandra and his lotus feet? The Supreme Lord, Sri Ramacandra, identifying his servant Hanuman, spoke to Maharshi Agastya as follows. The strengths of Vali and Ravan, although being incomparable, were not equal to that of Hanuman's. Hanuman is filled with chivalry, valor, patience, intelligence, scriptural knowledge, and all other desirable qualities. Hanuman alone accomplished the crossing of the ocean between southern India and Lanka, the message of Sita, the killing of the demons, the subsequent burning of Lanka, and so on. We do not hear such deeds even of Yama, Indra, Kuvera, and others. It is only by the strength of Hanumanji that I achieved victory over Lanka, rescued Sita, and saw Lakshman come back to life after being hit by an irresistibly powerful javelin. The question may be raised that if Hanuman was so powerful, then why did he not kill Vali during Vali's fight with Sugriva? In reply to this, Agastya Muni narrates the story of Hanuman's curse. Hanuman was fathered by Vayu, the wind god, and took birth from the womb of Anjana. After the birth of Hanuman, Anjana went to the forest to pick some fruits due to distress from hunger. Upon seeing the red sun looking like a java flower, like a hibiscus flower, Hanuman mistook it for a fruit and jumped up to eat it. To protect his son from the sun's heat, the cool wind Vayu began to blow. Knowing that the approaching child Hanuman would perform a great deed in the future, the sun did not burn him. That day, Rahu was to devour the sun, but upon seeing Rahu, Hanuman went to eat him also. Being afraid, Rahu ran to Indra and told him that when he went to devour the sun, another Rahu had attacked him. Indra, while following on his elephant Airavat, assured Rahu and sent him ahead as they approached the sun. Hanuman again saw the returning Rahu as a fruit. Seeing Hanuman coming to catch him, Rahu cried out loudly. Mistaking Airavat for a big fruit, Hanuman went to catch him also. Seeing no other way to stop him, Indra attacked Hanuman with his Vajra, with his thunderbolt weapon. Hanuman's left Hanu jaw was broken, and he fell down on. Oh, is that Hanuman means? So Hanu means jaw. Interesting. So his jaw was broken, and he fell down on a mountain. Upon seeing the unfortunate condition of his baby son, Vayu entered into a cave with him. At the disappearance of Vayu, all the living beings stopped breathing and evacuating and dried up like wood. The demigods and demons approached Brahma to save their lives. Brahma saw the golden-complexioned child in the lap of Vayu and touched him with compassion and affection. When Hanuman regained his life, Vayu, air, started flowing again with satisfaction. Brahma told the demigods that this child would someday perform some great work, so they should bless him. Then Indra blessed the child with the following words: Hanuman will never be killed, even if hit by the Vajra weapon. His jaw was broken by the Vajra. Therefore, his name will be Hanuman. Surya, the sun god, gave 100th part of his splendor to Hanuman, and also gave him the benediction that he would be a great speaker, very learned in the scriptures. Varuna, Yamara, and others also gave benedictions to Hanuman. Brahma assured Vayu by saying that Hanuman would bestow fearlessness to friends, fear to enemies, would be undefeatable, would be able to travel with unparalleled speed, and would perform great deeds. Becoming powerful by all these blessings, Hanuman began to create mischief in the ashrams of the sages due to his childish playfulness. In order to control him, the sages cursed him that he would not be aware of his own power for a long time. He would come to know his power only if someone told him about it. Thereafter, Hanuman became quiet and wandered peacefully. Hanumanji's influence is seen strongly in northern and western India. In these regions, almost all of the followers of Sanatana Dharma install and worship the deity of Hanuman. They especially recite the glories of Hanuman from the Ramayana of Tulsidas. In the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, the description of the avatar for Kali Yuga has been disclosed in the context of Yuga avatars. In that description, Vedavyas Muni has sung the glories of Kali Yuga's avatari, Sriman Mahaprabhuji, in 2 verses. Both these verses can also be understood in relation to Sri Rāmacandra. We went over these verses just recently. Deyam sada paribhavagnam abhishta doham tirtaspadam shiva virinchinutam sharanyam vrityartiham pranatapala bhavabdipotam vande mahapurushate charanaravindam. At Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter 5, verse 33. O Mahapurush, protector of all who offer respects unto you, you are always meditated upon. You are the destroyer of the embarrassing conditions of material life, the provider of all that is desirable, and the abode of all holy places. You are worshipped by Lord Shiva and Lord Virinchi, Brahma. You are the shelter, the remover of your servant's distress, and the deliverer from the ocean of material existence. I offer my obeisances unto your lotus feet. Tyaktva sudustyaja surepsita raja lakshmin dharmishta arya vachasaya agad aranyam maya mrigam daita yepsita manvadavad vande mahapurushute charanaravindam. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.34. O Mahapurush, the best of those who are followers of Dharma, you gave up Lakshmi and the opulence of royal life, which are desired even by the demigods. You went to the forest to honor the word of the Arya, and ran after the illusory deer to fulfill the desire of your beloved. I offer my obeisances unto your lotus feet. And now we're going to recite the 7th verse of the Dasavatara Stotram. Vitarasi dekshurane dekpatikamaniyam dashamukamoli balim brahmaniyam keshavadrita rama sharira jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare. O Keshav, in the form of Ram, you cut off the 10 heads of Ravan and made delightful gifts of them to the lords of the 10 directions. O Lord of the universe, all glories unto you, manifested in the form of Ram. For those who are unacquainted with the stories of Ramayana, the following are brief summaries of the 7 khandas of the Ramayana. Okay, so now we're getting a synopsis of the entire Ramayana. This is like the contents of the entire Ramayana. Okay. Adikanda. Let me just check the comments once again. Okay, yeah, so I was right. Durvasa was hungry.
It's always something like that. He's kind of a hungry guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't that?
And when he gets hungry, everything goes wrong. It's devastation.
What was the other one when he was hungry?
With Draupadi. Okay. So Adikanda. this is the table of contents, or whatever, summary of. And remember, there's 7 kandas in the Ramayana. So the first one, Adi Kanda. Narada describes the pastimes of Lord Ram. Valmiki composes the Ramayana. Lava and Kush sing the Ramayana. Dasharath's bringing of Rishyashringa. Lord Narayan accepts the sonhood of Dasharath. The birth of Vali, Sugriva, Hanuman, and other Vanaras, monkeys. The birth of Ram, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna. Sage Vishwamitra arrives in Ayodhya to take Ram and Lakshman to slay the Rakshasas, the demons. Dasharath refuses to let Ram and Lakshman go with Vishwamitra at first, but later agrees. The narration of the births of Tardaka and Maricha. Marich. The slaying of Tardaka by Ram. A description of the lineage of Kusha. Vishwamitra's narration of the origin of Ganga. King Sagara gets 60,000 sons. Sagara's dynasty is destroyed by the curse of Kapila Muni. Bhagirath gets a boon from Brahma. Ganga goes to Patala, the netherworld. Deliverance of the son Sagar. Indra cuts to pieces a fetus in the womb of Diti. A description of the curse of Ahalya and Indra. The redemption of Ahalya from her curse. Rama and Lakshman travel to the sacrificial arena of King Janak. Vishwamitra arrives at the ashram of Vashishta. Vishwamitra steals the Shabala cow. Vishwamitra is defeated doing battle with Vashishta. Vishwamitra performs austerities and attains the status of a Brahmana. King Janak obtains the Haradhanu, the bow of Lord Shiva. Ramacandra breaks the Haradhanu and accepts Sita as his wife. The marriage of Ramacandra and others. Parshuram's pride is destroyed. Dasharath arrives in Ayodhya with his daughters-in-law. Bharat journeys to his maternal home. So that's all in the Adi Kanda. So that's the first one, first of 7. Now second one, Ayodhya Kanda. Dasharath decides to install Sri Ramacandra as the crown prince. Vashishta visits Ram and Dasharath. The discussion between Kaikeyi and Mantara. Kaikeyi requests the boon of the exile of Ram and the boon of the appointment of Bharat as crown prince. Dasharath laments. Ram decides to go to the forest to honor his father's promise. Sita and Lakshman depart for the forest with Ram. Ram, Lakshman, and Sita accept garments made of tree bark. The further lamentation of Dasharath. Ram meets Guhaka, the king of the Nishadas, the low-caste hunters. Guhaka's unprecedented devotion for Ram. Ram goes to Chitrakoot and Valmiki. Ram goes to Chitrakoot and to Valmiki. Dasharath laments again upon hearing the message of Ram from Sumantra. The lamentation of Kaushalya. Dasharath narrates the description of the killing of Rishi Kumar, the death of Dasharath. A messenger is sent to bring Bharata. Bharat laments upon hearing about the death of his father. Bharat refuses to accept the kingdom. Bharat arrives at Chitrakoot with his army. Sri Ramacandra laments on hearing of the death of his father. Jabali gives instructions on dharma to Ram. Bharat returns with Ram's wooden shoes, hands over the kingdom to his guru, and he departs for Nandigram. The story of Ram and Kulapati in Chitrakoot. The ashram of Atri Muni. So that was the Ayodhya Kanda. Adi Kanda, Ayodhya Kanda. Now we come to the Aranya Kanda. That's number 3 out of 7. Sri Ramacandra enters the Dandaka forest. The slaying of the Rakshasa Viradha. Sutikshna Muni narrates the story of Ivalvatapi to Ram and chants the glories of Agastya Muni. Sri Ram's introduction to Jatayu. Ram resides in the forest of Panchavati. Lakshman cuts off the nose of Shurpanaka. The killing of the 14,000 Rakshas sent by Kara. the slaying of the three Rakshasas Dushan, Trishira, and Kara. Ravan becomes angry upon hearing about the deaths of Kara and Dushan. Ravan goes to the ashram of Marich and plots to kidnap Sita. Ravan decides to kidnap Sita on Shurparnaka's advice, even after restraint from Marich. Marich assumes the form of a golden deer and departs for the Dandaka forest. Ram leaves to kill Marich in the form of a deer. Lakshman goes after Ram upon being rebuked rudely by Sita. Ravan abducts Sita. The fight between Jatayu and Ravana. Sita drops jewelry from Ravan's chariot. Ravan leaves Sita in the Ashok grove and goes to his inner palace. Rama laments on the disappearance of Sita, the hearing of the story of Sita from the dying Jatayu, the performance of the funeral ceremony of Jatayu. Rama and Lakshman cut off the arms of Kabanda. Ravan and Lakshman go to Pampa Sarovar and meet Shabari. I've been there to Pampa Sarovar. Yeah. The discussion with Lakshman about going to Rishyamukha mountain. Okay, so that was all the Aranyakanda. So Adikanda, Ayodhyakanda, Aranyakanda. Now we come to the Kishkindakanda. It's number 4. Hanuman and the dragon meets with Ram. Hanuman seats Ram and Lakshman on his back and takes them to Sugriva. Sugriva vows to rescue Sita and Ram vows to kill Vali. Ram pierces the 7 tala trees. Sugriva is defeated in Vali. The second time, Vali falls down after being pierced by the arrow of Ram. Vali hands Angad over to Sugriva and leaves his body. Tara laments. Sugriva's coronation and Ram's lament due to separation from Sita. Sugriva worries upon seeing Lakshman's fury. Messengers are sent in all directions to search for Sita. Ram gives his ring to Hanuman as an emblem. The Vanaras return without discovering the whereabouts of Sita. Influenced by the mystic power of Mayadanava, Hanuman and other Vanaras enter a cave and meet with a Tapasvini, a female ascetic. Hanuman and others are delivered to the cave. Angada and others decide to fast until death upon not obtaining any information about Sita. Sampati informs them about Sita. The Vanaras depart for the seashore. The show of power of the Vanaras. Jambuvan, the very powerful king of bears, narrates the birth and pastimes of Hanuman. Hanuman increases his size. So that was the Kishkindakanda. Let's see, I'm trying to memorize this now. We did the Adikanda, the Ayodhyakanda, the Aranyakanda, the Kishkindakanda, and now we come to the Sundarakanda. Hanuman leaps from the top of Mahendra mountain. The killing of Singhika. Hanuman's fight with Lankini, who had assumed the form of a Rakshasi. Hanuman enters the inner palace of Ravana and searches for Sita in the Ashoka grove. Hanuman grieves upon seeing the miserable condition of Sita. A description of the birth of the Rakshasi, Trijata. Hanuman's meeting with Sita. Hanuman destroys the pleasure grove. Hanuman's intense fight with the Rakshasas. Hanuman kills Jambumali. Virupaksha, Akshay Kumar, and other principal Rakshasas. Indrajit captures Hanuman and brings him to the court of King Ravan. Ravan orders Hanuman to death. Vibhishan gives his advice to Ravan. Ravan orders the burning of Hanuman's tail. The burning of Lanka by Hanuman. Hanuman's second meeting with Sita. Hanuman returns to the Mahendra mountain. The Vanaras destroy Madhuvan in a mood of joy after hearing the news of Sita. That was a fun one. Hanuman gives Sita's emblem to Ramacandra. Okay. Let's try memorizing this again. We did Adikanda, Ayodhya Kanda, Aranya Kanda, Kishkinda Kanda, Sundara Kanda. Now we come to the Lanka Kanda. It's number 6. Rāmacandra weeps upon hearing the lamentations of Sita from Hanuman. Ram instructs Sugriva to build a bridge. Vibhishan tries to give good advice to Ravan. Ravan speaks proud words. Vibhishan leaves Ravan and goes to Ram. Ravan sends his spy Shuka to the camp of the Vanara army. Ram constructs a bridge. Shuka is freed and goes to the court of Ravan. Ravan again sends a spy, Chara. Sita laments upon being shown the illusory head of Ram by Ravana. Talks between Sita and Sarama. Malyavan, a Rakshasa, gives good advice to Ravan. Ramacandra views Lanka from Subela mountain. Ram surrounds Lanka with his army. The battle begins. Ram and Lakshman are bound up by Indrajit. The Vanara soldiers become depressed. Ramacandra laments upon seeing the sad plight of Lakshman. Rama and Lakshman are freed from the Nagapash, the snake noose of Indrajit. Ravan enters the battle after Dhumraksha, Vajradangstra, Akampana, and Prahasta perish. Kumbhakarna's sleep is interrupted by defeat. Kumbhakarna chastises Ravan. Kumbhakarna enters the battle. Sugriva cuts off Kumbhakarna's nose as he is entering into Lanka with him. Sugriva cuts off Kumbhakarna's nose as he is entering into Lanka with him. Kumbhakarna again sets off for battle. Ram kills Kumbhakarna. The killing of Narantaka. The killing of Narantaka, Devantaka, and Mahodara, Trishira, and other giant Rakshasas. Indrajit enters the battle and wins. Hanuman brings the mountain of herbs. The Vanaras burn Lanka. The killing of Nikumba, Makaraksha, and other Rakshasas. Indrajit kills the illusory Sita. Indrajit enters Lankapuri for the Nikumbila Yagya. Rama laments upon hearing of the death of Sita from Hanuman. Lakshman kills Indrajit. Ravan laments. Ravan hits Lakshman with an irresistibly powerful javelin. Hanuman brings Gandhamadan mountain. The treatment of Lakshmana. The intense battle between Ram and Ravan. Ram kills Ravan with the Brahmastra weapon. Haribo Jai Shri Ram. The lamentation of Mandodari. The coronation of Vibhishan. Sita hears the message of victory from Hanuman. Sita's ordeal by fire. Shri Ramacandra accepts Sita Devi. Ramachandra's conversation with Dasharat, who is brought back by Mahadev. The Vanara army is revived. The Vanara army is revived by the nectar from Devaraj Indra. Ramachandra leaves for Ayodhya on the Pushpaka airplane. The reunion with Bharadwaj, Guhaka, and others. And now we come to the final, the Uttara Kanda. So what was this? This was the Lanka Kanda. Now we come to the Uttara Kanda.
This is the final?
Yeah, this is the last one. Number 7. The coronation of Sri Ram. The birth of Kuvera and his taking up residence in Lanka. A description of the birth of the Rakshasas by Agastya Muni. The demigods go to Mahadev. Following the order of Mahadev, the demigods go to Vishnu. The Rakshasas journey to Suraloka for battle. Malya Vanar flees to Patala, defeated by Sumali. Sumali's daughter goes to Vishvashrava, and Ravan and others take birth from her womb. Ravan and others perform austerities. Ravan conquers Lanka and becomes king. The birth of Indrajit. Ravan goes to fight with Kuvera. Kuvera's defeat. Vedavati curses Ravan. Ravan fights with Yama on the advice of Narada. Ravan goes to Vali. Ravan conquers the planet of the sun god. Friendship with Mandhata. Ravan sees Kapila in Patal. Ravan enters Lanka and orders Shurparnaka, who is burning from the fire of the grief of separation from her husband, to go to the Dandaka forest. Friendship with the Madhu demon. Indrajit enters Lanka taking Indra with him. Indra gets free, a story of Ahilya. A description of the fight between Kartavirajuna and Ravan. The friendship of Ravan with Vali. A description of Hanuman's birth. A description of the births of Vali and Sugriva. Ravan goes to Shvetadvip. The Vanaras and Rakshasas return to their respective places. A description of the wanderings of Sita and Ram in the Ashoka forest. Upon hearing rumors about Sita, Ram orders Lakshman to banish Sita. Lakshman leaves Sita in the area of Valmiki's ashram. Lakshman returns to Ram. Ram tells Lakshman about Nimi and Vashishta. The episode of Yayati. Sri Ramacandra orders Shatrugna to kill Lavana. The birth of Lava and Kush in the of Valmiki. The episode of Mandhata. Shatrugna kills Lavana and establishes the capital of Mathura. Ram cuts off the head of the Shudra, Shambhuka, because he is performing austerities. A description of the killing of Vrita and the Ashwamedha Yagya of Indra. Ram goes to Naimisharanya. Valmiki comes to the Yagya of Ram with his disciples Lav and Kush. Valmiki comes to the Yagya of Ram with his disciples, and Lav and Kush sing the Ramayan. Sita comes to the court of Ram and to Patal. Kaushalya and others leave their bodies. The coronation of Angara and Chandraketu. Kala comes to Ram in the form of Tapas. Durvasa arrives. Ram banishes Lakshman. The coronation of Lav and Kush. Sri Ramacandra enters into the Sarayu with the Vanaras. He enters into the Sarayu with the Vanaras, Rakshasas, and other citizens. The glories of the singing of Ramayan. Wow, so we just got a full summary of the entire Ramayana, the 7 parts of Ramayana. That was really cool.
Did you hear about that story where Ram killed that Sudra because he was doing austerities?
Yeah, we read that already.
I know, but why? I mean, I know you just...
Yeah, because he had an evil intention, and so he wouldn't, like Ravan, he performed austerities.
Or was he just
I thought that's what it said here. No, I thought it said that. Like that was the context that it gave.
Like I think maybe he's a Sudra, he can't possibly have good intentions.
Okay, everybody. So, Hari Bol, Anandini, Didi. Hare Krishna, everybody. So, soon we're gonna start a program. Actually, no, I think we should do one kirtan for Ramacandra. Maybe we can sing the Ramachandrashtakam, which I sent out on the Vine of Devotion mailing list. And then we'll end, and then I have to go for a program with Padmanabha Maharaj to start kirtan. Let's see, Vine of Devotion. If you go to vineofdevotion.com, you can see 4 songs to see for Sri Ram Navami. 4 songs that I prepared. Well, no, 2 are by Manjari, like she had a class, a Zoom class, teaching how to sing these 2 songs. Sitaram, Sitaram, Sitaram kahiye. How does it go? Something like that. Something Vidi rahiye. And then there's this beautiful one. Ho Mangala Bhavana Amangala Hari Drabahu Surata Dasha. Drabahu Dasharata Ajira Bihari Ram Sitaram Sitaram Jai Jai Ram. It's 2 beautiful kirtans. Anyways, if you want to learn how to sing those, you can check those out on vineofdevotion.com. And then there's also Shri Ramacandra Kripalu Bhajamana. That one. So you can find that also here. And then there's the Ramachandrashtakam, by Murari Gupta, who we heard all about just now, how he's Hanuman in Ramacandra's pastimes. So he wrote a book called the Sri Chaitanya Charita, and in there's this song. So we can sing this, and then I will end. Maybe let's read the translation, and then we can start. The glowing gems of his crown illuminate the 10 directions, while the 2 earrings he wears appear to be Jupiter and Venus rising. Flanking the spotless moon orb like of his face. I perpetually worship that Sri Ramacandra, Guru of the 3 worlds. His eyes are like fresh lotuses blossoming in the rays of the rising sun. His lips are like beautiful bimbo fruits. His nose is very charming, and his sweet laughter shames even the soothing rays of the moon. I eternally worship that Sri Ram, Guru of the 3 worlds. His neck, like a conch, is 3 elegant lines. He is Aja, the unborn, with a complexion like that of a blue lotus, and is resplendent, wearing a string of pearls and a gold necklace, resembling a rain cloud laced by lightning as a flock of cranes soar past. Whoa, what a descriptive, yeah, it is. I eternally adore that Ram, the Guru of the 3 worlds. In the palm upraised hand rests a 1,000-petal lotus, which appears to be clasped by another 5 or 100 more petals, her elegant fingers. Thus, her figure glistening like molten gold, Sita Devi presides to the left of that foremost of Raghus, whom I worship for perpetuity. Before him is the foremost, limbs of blazing golden effulgence. He is absorbed in carefully serving his elder brother and is adorned with self-restraint. He is the great radiance, the Mahajyoti, or supreme abode of Vishnu, renowned as Shesh, whose name is now Lakshman. I eternally worship Sri Ramacandra, the Guru of the 3 worlds. He is the greatest of the Raghus, Aryan moon rising from the ocean of their dynasty. By killing Marich, Subahu, and other demons, he protected Vishwamitra's fire sacrifice, which was the embodiment of his cumulated piety. I constantly worship that Ram, the Guru of the 3 worlds. Killing Kara, Trishira, Kabanda, and their companions, he rid the Dandakaranya forest of its filth. Befriending Sugriva, he killed his enemy Bali. I worship that Raghava, who put an end to the 10-headed menace, Ravan. Breaking Shiva's bow, he wed the daughter of Janak amid great festivity, and when confronted by Parshuram on the path back to Ayodhya, he defeated him, thereby delighting his father. I worship that Sri Ram, the Guru of the 3 universes, and the best in the line of Kakutstha. Hearing this prayer to Raghunandan, the lion among kings, the Lord Sri Gaur-Hari placed his lotus feet on the physician Sri Murari Gupta's head, stamping his forehead with the worms, Ramdas, and blessed him. By my mercy, may you be the servant of Sri Ram. Wow, beautiful. Okay, so I'm just getting my mridanga, and then we can sing this. Let me just see. Okay, thanks for explaining that, Kishore. I'll mention that afterwards. Okay, I'm getting the mridanga. Oops. Rajat Kirita. Oops, sorry. Rajat Kirita Manidhi Dita Dipitasham Udyar Brihaspati Kavi Pratime Vahantam Dve kundalenkarahitetendru samanavakram Ramam jagatraya gurum satatang bhajami Udad vibhakara marichi vibodhitabja Netram subimba dashana chadacharunasam Shubhrang shurashmi parinirjita charuhasam Ramam jagatraya gurum satatam bhajami Kambukantamajam ambujatulya rupam Muktavali kanaka haradritam vibhantam Vidyurbalaka kanasanyutamam budangvam Ramam jagat Traya Gurum Satatam Bhajami Uttastatala Sangstasahasrapatram Pancha Chadadhika Shatam Pravarangulibhi Kurvantya Sita Kanaka Dutiyasya Sita Parshe stita raghuvaram satatam bhajami Agre dhanurdharavara kanakojvalango Jeshtanusevanarato cha yatabhushanadya Sheshakya Dhama Varalakshmana Nama Yasya Ramam Jagat Traya Gurum Satatam Bhajami Yo Raghavendra Kusha Sindhu Sudhang Shurupo Macharakshasa Subahu Mukhani Hatya Yagyam Raraksha Kushikan Vaya Punya Rashim Ramam Jagat Traya Gurum Satatam Bhajami Hatva Karatrishiraso Sagano Kabandam Shridandakana Namadushanameva Kritva Sugriva Maitram Akaror Vinihatya Shatrum Tang Raghavam Dashamukantakaram Bhajami Bhangtva Pinakamakaroj Janakatmajaya Vaivahikotsava Viding Patibhargavendram Jitva Pitur Mudam Hakakutstavaryam Ramam Jagat Traya Gurum Satatam Bhajami Itam Nishamya Raghu Nandana Raja Singha Shlokashtakam Sabhagavan Charanam Murare Vaidyasya Murdhni Vinidhaya Lilekha Bhale Tvam Ramadasa Iti Bho Bhavamat Prasadat Ramam Jagat Trayam Satatam Bhajami O Ramam Jagat Traya Gurum Bhajami Ajaya Rāmacandra Jaya Rāmacandra Rāmacandra Jaya Rāmacandra Jaya Rāmacandra Rāmacandra, Rāmacandra, Jai Rāmacandra. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sitaram. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 Lakshman Hanuman. Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sitaram. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sitaram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman. Jai Sitaram, Jai Sitaram, Sitaram, Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachinandan, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. All right, so at 7:30 p.m. I will go live. Well, hopefully. Yeah, I think I'll be going live to read from this book, Sweet, Sweeter, Sweetest, by this Śrīla Prabhupada Maharaj. His remembrances of Śrīla Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Right. Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudev Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vamana Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nagagoriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Shara Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gora Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Bharata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwara Mahadev ki jai. Shri Ram Navami Titi ki jai. Titi Palan Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Rāmacandra ki jai. Shri Lakshman ki jai. Bharat Shatrugna ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Shri Kaushalya Mata ki jai. Sumitra Mata ki jai. Shri Kaikeyi Mata ki jai. We read a beautiful thing about Kaikeyi by my Śrīla Gurudev. So she's actually to be glorified. Anyways, maybe we can read about that later, tomorrow or something. Shri Dasavatara Maharaj ki jai. Janak Maharaj ki jai. Shri Sita Devi ki jai. Shri Hanuman ki jai. Shri Ayodhya Dham ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan. Shri Ramacandra Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Nityala Pavishtam Vishnupad Shrimad Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Tadiya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Shri Valmiki Ramayan ki jai. Vrindaya Tulsi Devaya Priyaya Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Pradyumna Prabhu, no. Sri Ram does not come every Treta Yuga. No. All right, thank you so much for joining me in this reading, and I hope you will join this evening as well, or for those of you in the West, maybe in your morning time. And yeah, and then tomorrow we will continue with our Srimad Bhagavatam readings. There's only a little bit left in this chapter, so maybe we can finish off the chapter and then read a little bit more Ramakatha for my Gurudev, because we didn't read anything for my Gurudev yet, and my Gurudev was a very devout worshipper of a devotee of Ram throughout his whole life. So my Gurudev has very beautiful, very beautiful explanations and very amazing, explanations of different pastimes of Ram Leela. All right, Hare Krishna, everybody. See you all tomorrow, this evening, and then tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe.